Yo, that
What
was
up,
the first
y'all?
time I saw that intro. That shit was hot.
I don't know if I got something.
Can you hear me?
What's going on, y'all? The Bar Room
Got
back
you.
again.
To the sound.
It's another week. You know
Hey,
what I'm
y'all,
saying? It's
just go
another
ahead and
week.
start without me.
We got another week back. You know what I'm saying? We in the bar room. We done this week we done we went out to a cornfield in Indiana and found Thaddeus. And it was by the 33rd stalk on the left hand side. We finally found them.
We got in
Before we
contact
get
with some of the Chondro OGs. They said if you build it, they will come. Thaddeus came walking out of the corn.
I thought he got
Something like
kidnapped
that.
by the I thought you got kidnapped by the children of the corn. They finally let you go. Ezekiel and them was on your ass.
All right, I got sound now. I don't know what happened when the video played. It took my sound out. But so tonight we got Thaddeus Sauls here. I'm gonna tell y'all something about Sauls. So back when I was new to Chondros and I was in the MVF group on Facebook, they had this program where they would assign you a mentor. And Thaddeus was my mentor, man. I used to call him with all the dumbass questions. And I still really appreciate you to this day and all the help that you've given me. Plus, you were like the nicest person in that group. So
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it. And I'm glad to have you here. And we'll go around the horn. You guys got anything you guys want to get off before we start?
I apologize for leaving last week a little bit early, but I did well on my exam and I passed the state exam, so I'm starting to explore a little bit into my my second career now. I'll be starting it probably in the next few weeks. So,
What about you, Kino?
Me, I ain't got nothing. Ain't nothing shaking over here. Everybody's still alive. The baby's rocking and rolling. Everybody on like eighth meals now. I think it's like 8 meals. Full of pinkies. Everybody rocking and rolling, man. One of them on fuzzies.
Okay.
Hey, establishing babies has been a blast. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's been everything I thought it was. I ain't gonna say what else because I fucking around jinx myself. But it's been cool. It's taking a
jinx
lot
it.
of patience. It's taking a lot of patience. That's all I said. That's all I'm
So
saying.
your
There's a
first
lot of
group?
patience. Yeah, the first group on establishment. Yep.
Oh man, there ain't nothing like
And
that
it's
feeling when that first baby takes a meal.
yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah.
cool to see how they all just like get turned on their own way, their own little wavelength. That's pretty cool to see, man. So other than that, I'm good.
I got nothing else. I got some sarong babies for sale right now. They're not up on Morph Market, so if you want one, just hit me up. But also, we got some babies. I don't know if you guys can see this. We got some snakes up for sale by Ryan from Clockwork. I don't know if y'all can see it.
what is that first one? Is that just a Biak?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see
Yeah,
that.
But if
it
you
look like a yellow neon Viac.
Yeah, right. That's what I was saying. I like go back to it real quick because the pattern is really dark. Or am I just?
I can't really go back.
No.
I can't really
Alright.
go back. I'll send you the picture of it later.
Yes, I looked at it real quick. It looked like a yellow neo Biak, but
Yeah, so those are some of the babies that he has up for sale. He's giving away crazy discounts and deals. So hit him up if you're looking for something. But we're gonna kick on the banner for our sponsor Chris from In a Box 3D, who makes 3D purchase. So go check out Chris for all your 3D purge needs. But yeah, let's get into this. So
Shout out
Sauls.
Chris. I hit that code too, man, so y'all can save some money.
Yeah, hit that code. So y'all get y'all some cheaper stuff.
Save you some decades.
this thing isn't connected to YouTube either. But Thaddeus, how are you doing tonight, man?
Can't complain. Can't complain.
So we want to let you give a quick intro and where you started, and we'll go from there, and we'll kick this whole thing off.
All right. Okay.
It's a lotion. This one.
Well, I started keeping chondros probably it's been like 12 or 13 years ago, and I only had one. I went to Reptile Expo in Indianapolis, and I was just looking around, and I didn't have any animals at the time, and I saw a green tree python, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I decided that's what I wanted, and man, that was the coolest snake, and it was $300 12 years ago, captive bred and born. And I don't know where that guy ended up, but I've never seen him since. And so for a long time, I just had that snake, and I didn't know anything about the Facebook groups, and so I was just winging it. And I made every mistake in the book on that snake, and it was so resilient. And finally, I don't know, the snake was 6 or 7 years old, and it ended up getting some kind of bone disease and I lost it, long story short. Then I wanted to get a new GTP at the time, but that's when I found the Facebook groups. And so I just started hunting around, and I learned so much from just talking to people in the groups. And I ended up purchasing my first two. I drove to Missouri and picked them up from a guy who was getting out, and it just blew up from there. That first female I bought was the dam for my first couple clutches, where some of all that crazy stuff came from, and she was just a random Beok off a random guy that I found in Missouri, and so I guess I got a little lucky there. And then
so you bred the what was that first breeding?
The first female I bred?
Yeah, the one you were just talking about.
Yeah, she was just a Beok, that unknown origin. I bought it off a random guy. He only had 2 snakes, and he was selling them. And I bred her to a male that had some really awesome lineage from. I bought that male in Muncie from Ty Keys, TK Chondros. And that male was just straight green, but he had a lot of melanism in his lineage and some really crazy stuff from a lot of really famous lines back, 3 or 4 generations ago. And that pair just produced all kinds of crazy stuff. And it blew up from there. I sold a bunch of snakes from those first 2 clutches, and then used that money to buy a bunch more snakes, and here we go.
Okay. So, Thaddeus, how'd you get started with snakes anyway? What was your first snake, and when did you get into reptiles?
Oh, I was growing up in Indianapolis. I was like 4 years old, walking down to the creek, like 4 houses down, just catching whatever I could. And then when we moved to Brazil, I was like 7 years old, and whatever I could catch down at the local park, turtles, I'd catch. My dad, he let me keep whatever I wanted. I had a bunch of aquariums on the front porch. And then the summer, I would keep whatever I caught and then let it go later, a couple months later. I'd come home with like 3.5-foot water snakes, mean as hell. Like, hey, Dad, can I keep this?
It's just capturing whatever you could off the Wabash River.
So, and I never kept anything long term back then, but that's kind of what had my interest. And I think at one spring, I caught like 23 turtles. My dad said, I'm like 8 years old, riding my bike across town, just catching whatever I can, and I'd keep it on the porch for a few weeks, let it go. Like 10 years old, I caught like a 15-pound snapping turtle and rode home about 3 miles with it on my bicycle, just riding down the highway with a big turtle by the tail.
Hold on. How the hell you catch this?
Hey man, that's an Indiana boy right there.
How'd you catch that? Explain this, please. How you catch a snapper turtle?
Oh, it's easy. Just grab them by the back of the shell. They can't bite you.
Mm-hmm.
So where was
Grab
it?
them,
You went under
grab
what?
them
You went
right
under
behind.
what and
I don't remember. It must have been. I caught it out of a creek, so I was probably down there. I always come home covered in mud, so.
got it?
But
Hey,
that was my childhood, just catching reptiles.
Real different.
I would not say that other people around here are like me. I'll tell you that. I was
He
one
said,
of a
"One
kind.
caught a snapper turtle with my bare hands."
Catch my own turtles.
But yeah, the first
Shit.
snake I ever purchased was that green tree python about 12 years ago.
Okay. So how did that coincide with your life at that point in time as a younger adult? How did, the whole snake life and then mixing it with the family life work out?
Well, it was just at the one snake at the time. For all them years, I only had the one chondro, and so it was just a pet. There wasn't anything other than a cool pet at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to start balancing anything until my collection started blowing up. That was like 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And it hasn't really been bad. I just got to be able to dedicate, just depends on what time of year it is and if I'm trying to establish neonates or not. But just got to cut out time for it.
That is true. Establishing neonates takes a lot of time.
How long did you have the? How long did you have that snake before you jumped into breeding?
Well, that snake. Let's see. It would have been like 2010, 2011 when I bought that snake. And I didn't get a breeding pair until 2018.
Nice. So you was able to like literally be a keeper for damn that decade. Just learn green freeze.
Oh well, yeah. I made that one snake. I made every mistake in the book trying to learn how to keep that snake.
Yeah. Did you guys have any reptile vets around where you were?
Yeah, I've got one. I do have one here in town.
Okay.
So
good.
She's seen a lot of my animals over the years.
What was that? What was the locality? What was the locality? The first animal that you got?
Just a mutt.
It was a Biak.
I don't think it was Biak. I think it had probably some Aru. It is a southern locality. I didn't think it was any Biak in it. If it was Yellowknife Biak mixed with some Aru, but it was straight green. There was not a scale of any other color on that snake.
So, Thaddeus, you struck it hot early with your breeding endeavors. You got clutches back to back. So could you go through the process of how that whole thing happened?
Well, I made a really good choice when I selected the male, and he ended up being the best breeder male that I have. And I don't know. I think part of it was luck because he was such a good breeder. But I was listening to every single piece of information I could get, all those podcasts with all the the legends. I'd listen to those podcasts over and over and over again, and that's how I dialed in my techniques for getting them to breed. And that combined with the luck of having a real good breeder male who would breed a stick, it just kind of worked out for me. I have not been able to replicate breeding as well as I did with those first 2 seasons. That pair, I've had probably a decent amount of success, but those 2 were just rock stars.
What do you think changed? between your first two and where you at right now? Where I guess your third.
I'm not trying as hard. I know what I'm doing. I'm not putting the time into it like I was the first 2 years because I don't need to. You know, this is a hobby for me, and I was spending 4 or 5 hours a week messing with snakes, and I just priority shifted. You
Yeah.
know, I spend less time. I do what I need to do to keep them clean and keep them healthy, and but I'm kind of starting to build back up again. Um, I've really been taking it easy, but the last year I'm trying to breed up or trying to grow out my females, get them nice breeding weight because next year that first clutch that I had is going to be hopefully ready to breed. And
Right.
I don't know, you guys probably seen some of the stuff I got, but
Yeah, I
Yes.
got him. I,
And
I got him
and
pulled
we
up
see
right
you.
here.
We saw you come back out the hole, Thaddeus. We saw. It's just like, yo, this guy's been on hiatus, man. He came back.
It was Groundhog Day or something.
You have a lot of melanistic animals in your collection for sure.
yeah, it's gonna be fun next year. But you know, I didn't really go away. I just got sick of Facebook. I got sick of the Chondro groups. Man, I'll tell you what, you put one thing on that group and you've got 100 people who have, I don't know, maybe they got a snake, maybe they don't, but everybody's an expert. And I'm like, come on. It burnt me out.
Thaddeus, were you in the military?
Do what?
Were you in the military?
Still am. Active Army for 17 years.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service.
So I got my first one when I was in the Army and I was stationed at Fort Gordon. And for a while, like I was thinking it was gonna work out well, and I thought about it for a second. I was just like, if you're one of those people that has PCS every 2 years, I don't think you can keep a lot of reptiles.
I don't know how you could do it.
Yeah, I don't know how you could do it.
That wouldn't seem possible to me.
Yeah, constantly picking them up and moving them. But yeah, so let's go over your process for breeding and how you start from top to bottom.
Yeah, what you feeding your females, Thaddeus? How you getting your females ready going into a breeding season? Your males. What you doing with the tip drops? I'm especially interested in that because I'm from the Midwest. I'm probably like a couple hours away from you.
Okay. Yeah. So
Excuse me.
I guess to start with, I keep a year round. My room is 82 during the day and like 78 at night. And that's just my room ambient temps. That's not my hotspot or anything in the cages. And then when it's sometime around October, 1st of October, I'll drop the nighttime down to I'll just turn the heat off in the room at night. It'll get down to probably 72, 73. And then, so the only thing they'll have is a nighttime hot spot in their cage at, maybe like 78 degrees. So that's what I do to cool them. And my females, I'm feeding small rats mostly. I've shifted. I used to feed, jumbo mice, but I don't feel like it was keeping the weight on them like I wanted. So I almost exclusively feed my females small rats, and every now and then I'll throw them a medium if it's a big female. And the males, I don't really feed rats. Every once in a while, maybe if they're looking like they could gain a little bit, but I try to keep them on bouncing back and forth between large and jumbo mice. And then I will.
How often?
Yeah, how often you feed your breeder size females a small rat?
Right now, I'm feeding them every 2 weeks.
You said every 2?
Yep. Right now, trying to get them ready for breeding season, but I'll probably give them. I'll probably fast them here coming up for, let's see, September. So really, when I fed them last week, that's probably the last time I'll feed them until October. So, and then I'll turn the meals back on for them. And what I like to do is feed the females, and then about 3 days after I feed them, I'll put the males in, and then I'll let the males stay in there for about a week and a half, and then I'll pull them and feed them again. And then I'll just keep doing that until I start seeing activity. And
Smaller prey, I'd imagine, if you're feeding a little bit more frequently.
yeah.
And what are they?
Do what?
What are the prey? Can you guys hear me real well or no?
We can hear
Sometimes
you.
there's clicking going on, and I can.
Let me see what the fuck's going on because I didn't use my my microphone this episode. You guys continue. I'm sorry. I'm gonna check my shit real quick.
So once I get them to the size I want, then they'll have smaller prey.
And what is that smaller prey on them that you're feeding? If you don't mind me.
Like for a female, it's like a large or a jumbo mouse.
Okay.
I'm doing rats just to put weight on them right now.
So how do you handle the winters?
As far as humidity,
Yeah, like, cause I mean, like, how you got? So you got a separate snake room, or are they part of your house?
yeah. So I built a wall in my snake room, and I had 3 dedicated circuits installed so I can run oil-filled heaters to keep it warm, and then I run humidifiers in that room. It's sealed off from the rest of my house, so I try to keep the humidity up to the ambient in that room at like 45. That's about as high as I can keep it because the HVAC just dries it out.
Yeah.
And then in their cages, you just got to stay on top of the water changes and get that bedding wet when you change the water to spill some of that water out. Keep that cage humidity up because if you miss
Are you
it,
spraying?
I know I've never sprayed, never have. I just, as long as I keep the water changes, frequent and keep that cage humidity level up, I haven't had any problems. But it is a challenge. If you miss a water change and that cage dries out and they're in shed, now you're soaking a snake. So
Yeah. Oh, I fucked up one time and fed my female while she was in shed. I didn't even know she was in shed. And the damn shed got like was tight around her.
oh yeah. Well, and I feed all my snakes on the same schedule. So if I miss a water change and if there's 1 in shed, I probably got 8 in shed or 10. And if I miss a
Yeah, that's
water
usually how it
change
is.
and they have a bad shed, I probably got 8 snakes having a bad shed and I'm having to soak them all. So I really got to stay on top of it. But yeah, that house
So
gets dry.
how do you start off with prepping for pet?
Lose him again? There he is. How do I start off prepping my pairs?
How do you start off with cycling, like preparing for breeding? Do you temp cycle?
Yeah, in October I'll start dropping temps. My daytime I'll keep it around 82, but my nights I'll drop and then warm them back up in the day. And I feed them up. I try to get them up to weight, and then I'll fast them right before I start dropping temps, and then I'll start feeding them again. I don't know if it's doing anything or not, but other guys do that summer fast before they start cycling. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I just try to do everything.
Oh, your eggs, you run the sea serpent, or you got the cooler?
No, I have a stack of PVC sheets in my garage, and I build cages. They're not as nice as some of stuff you can order, but you know, I build
It
PVC cages.
get the job done.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
What about your
Hey, so-
incubator? Did you build your incubator too?
I bought my incubator from a gecko breeder. It's just a converted wine cooler with heat tape all along the back, a couple fans in it, and it works perfect. So I ain't changing.
Have you had to replace the heat on it yet?
Yeah.
No, not yet. But I only run it, you know, when I have eggs in there. So I run it for a couple months a year, and then I just unplug it.
Okay.
So heat tape's still good.
Hey, how can you all hear me now? Is that better?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's fine.
No tapping.
You don't mess with anything.
I'm not fucking touching shit.
So can you tell us about your first times? You know, you said copulations. How many copulations did you count before you saw ovulations? And then what was the distance between ovulation and getting eggs? If you can remember any of that.
Oh man, I would have to go back and look at my notes. Let's see. I started pairing. So I started pairing early October, but I wasn't getting any action. I don't think I started seeing copulations until probably late November. And then I'm about to do some backwards math. That first clutch I had was an April clutch, like an April 24th.
Okay.
So
I should have
they
grabbed
hatched
one when I
in
had a chance, by the way.
I'm gonna say I started seeing copulations in late November, early December, and I probably had an ovulation a month later.
Okay.
Probably that a month or a month and a half later, I probably saw ovulation in mid-January. I think that adds up. I'm not good at math, but if I had eggs on April 24th, I'm pretty sure it's like a mid-January, mid to late January ovulation. So
That's kind of how it was with my first clutch. I had
About 40 days.
a mid-January ovulation.
and that's how our clutch was the following year too. It was almost the exact same. I think the eggs hatched from almost the exact same time too.
You think that has something to do with, you know, just the region?
I have no idea. I guess it depends on who you talk to. Some people will tell you can breed them year round.
Yeah.
But I've never really had any luck. But I'm not cycling most of the year. I'm only cycling October through April.
Yeah. So when you first got eggs, hold on a second. When you first got eggs, how did you separate them, or did you leave them as a whole?
Nope,
When you
separated.
put them in the incubator. Okay.
I
And how did
separated
incubation go?
I had 100% hatch rate my first time. I had 18 eggs and I
That's
hatched
what's up.
18.
Where'd you
Yeah.
hatch them over?
I hatched them over water. I just got Sterilite shoe boxes and that light diffuser grid, and I set that grid up over the water and sealed those shoe boxes up. Kept them at that's the only thing that I think I maybe off on in incubation was I think that my thermostats were not reading correctly. I think I was actually a couple degrees cooler than I wanted. So I had them set up at like 78 degrees or 77 degrees, and it was probably in reality incubating at like 76.
Okay.
But they hatched at 54 days, so it wasn't terrible.
You said you
How long did you
incubated
have them like that
70,
before you
76 degrees?
Or, no, wait, did I got that wrong? Man, it's been a minute since I incubated eggs.
86?
86. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was about to say, damn, how long do you have them like that before you notice the tip?
Damn, I was gonna
I'm
say
just
it had to
no, no,
incubate for
no, no, no.
180 days like a monitor egg.
No, I'm being dyslexic. Like, okay, 80. I think it's 87.5 is what I shoot for, and it was a couple of degrees cooler. It was like probably like 85, 86.
Okay, yeah. That
That
makes
sounds
All right,
right. That sounds
all right, that makes sense. All right.
yeah. No, I don't think anybody's hatching eggs at 76 degrees.
Okay. So they hatched on day
So
54.
you so
How long did it take you to separate them and start feeding trials? How long did you wait?
Um, Once all of them were out of the egg, I started putting them in there in the rack, and I waited until after their first shed before I started feeding trials. And I think I only got one or two to eat first time. They
That's what happened with me.
yeah, me too.
I,
right here.
it's technique almost certainly.
Yeah.
It's got to be because I haven't had that much trouble getting babies to eat ever since. Mostly technique is what I think it is. But I had a ton of runners. Um,
Did you chick sit?
yeah, I did. I
How'd
did.
you deal with the runners?
A lot of late nights.
Put them on the scale.
Like, oh man, I don't even miss it. Back then, it was like every week feeding those
Right.
things. Like every 5 days, it's like 3 or 4 hours sitting on the floor
Yeah.
next to the rack trying to get these things. And it don't take me that long anymore somehow. Because now I don't. And now I just start force feeding right away. I don't. If they start, like, I'll give them a week, and if they don't start eating, then they're getting like mouse legs. Uh,
Right.
I don't wait because I've
What was the
lost them.
what was the longest you had a baby hold out from shedding?
Hold out from shedding.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think they all shed within a week, maybe 10 days. I don't know.
I got asked because I got a baby who I started giving mice legs to and ain't shed yet.
How long's it been?
They hatched on Mother's Day, and I waited 2 weeks to start feeding. And all the other ones they just had their second shed, and this one ain't shed once yet.
Is it eating at all?
Not on his own.
But you've got it to take like a tails or legs or something.
Yeah, it's on mice legs. It had one pinky head, and then it had like 6 or 7 mice legs.
Are you weighing it? Is it gaining any weight?
I'm not weighing it, but it is gaining weight. I can tell because I can just see it growing. But it's always gray. It's always blue.
If it gains enough weight, it will shed. Sometimes that first shed, now that you mention it, I have had them where they didn't shed right away. And then once they do shed, they'll shed off a couple layers.
See, I've heard that too. I've heard, especially digging back on MVF, I've seen a few people where they say that, like, that first shed, it seemed like they had a double layer come off.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
And he's starting to strike a little bit. It's like when he knows it, he's starting to like bite me a little bit. And he struck a few times. I tried to pick him once and he was striking. So I think he'll get it, but it's just I keep him set up like everybody else. Everybody shed and it's one piece and it's fat, and then him. I don't know.
Yeah, he'll get it. Just if
Bad mystery.
And it's weird because a lot of those ones. So the longest I've ever had a Neo hold out on me is like probably 6 months, where it wouldn't eat on its own.
Damn.
But I'm cutting off adult mouse legs and cutting it down to just like the thigh meat and making it swallow that. So it's getting a little bit of bone and a little bit of muscle.
Yeah.
And I did that for 6 months, and then I was like, well, I'm going on vacation, and so I didn't mess with it. It sat in that dark box for a week all by itself, and then I come home from vacation, and all of a sudden I try to feed it and it eats, and that's happened to me multiple times. I don't know what's going on with it, but it can't be just coincidence. So
How's that animal doing now? Do you still got it?
no idea. I don't even remember which one it was. Once these animals start eating on their own, they just take off, and all that they catch up and weight really fast.
But you saying 6 months? How many times did you use for like saying fuck it? Because I'm feeling like that right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna cap.
It's yeah, like if it was like an animal that you could punch in the face, sometimes you just want to.
Straight up, man, sling his ass across the room.
Yeah, there's not too many things that's more frustrating.
Keno, that yellow baby that you got took over 5 months to get to eat on its own.
Gucci Bags is still taking. Like just took a fuzzy today, and that was the best meal it's ever taken. But I still gotta fuck with it, and it's 9 months old.
Yeah,
damn, bro.
I got one from the Sarong clutch that like it's still not eating on its own.
Pain in the ass, man. It did bite it once, and it was very little. I didn't really have to mess with it yesterday when I fed it, so I'm hoping it's getting better. But man, dude, what a pain in the ass that snake is. All the other ones are beasts. They're eating like.
I'm so close to throwing that shit in the garbage.
Trav, I wanted to ask you and Thaddeus this question too. Is like, so I'm not really weighing anything, but I just for shits and giggles I weighed my biggest Neo, and at 9 months old it's 92 grams. Are you guys getting that? Is that on point, or is that a little big? Because this thing's pretty large. Like Travis's babies are fucking huge.
No, I had some that was like well over 150 grams at that age.
Oh my gosh,
dude, his fucking
I think if
snakes are gigantic.
I think if your animal is
Yeah,
around, if it's around a year and it's at 100 grams and over, I think it's doing fine.
Yeah, all right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but man, you like you crossbreeding some different species there, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare.
Yeah, my one's 92.
They were surrounding Biox. Like I wouldn't.
I'm just playing with it.
I wouldn't compare the size of those animals to most animals. I mean, but shit, I got some sarong babies that are pretty big.
Look,
I got one that was so big. Last night I gave it a hopper, and it squeezed the hopper is so tight that it snapped the head off, and then it just tried to eat the head.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, you got a fancy ass name. You drink some fancy ass drinks.
Did I drop off?
No, you good.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm praying that the two big ones I kept are females, because they're 88 and 92 grams. Like I said, and they're not even 9 months old. They'll be 9 months old in like 5 days. So they'll get another meal, but they're moving on to like they're ready to hit small mice. They're fucking big as shit.
Yeah, that's how some of mine are. I got some yearlings that are just massive, and I have a sorong that I'm raising up that's the same age as 3 Biak outcrosses that I'm raising up, and they eat the same food, the same size, at the same schedule, and those Biak outcrosses are twice the size of that sorong. Yeah. It's just wild how big that Biak blood is.
Now, what the Biak outcross is? The dam or the sire of Biak?
The dam. It's a third. She's like 1,000.
Like my female brew is eating, like when she takes a larger medium rat, you can't even tell that she ate it. She's fucking huge.
Whoa.
She's fucking giant. She's a
Whoa.
large animal. She's like 1,200, and she's not fat at all. She is not obese.
Wow. I don't have anything over 1,000 grams. Well, not chondros.
Yeah, it's if you go on my page, it's her name's Deep Blue. She's a large animal, and I'm
Wow.
she's been cuddling with this male, and she's right on her cycle. She ovulated last year, July 23rd, 24th, and about 7 days prior to that, like she was so swollen. She was more swollen in her ovulation last year, but it wasn't an ovulation. Like she had scale separation, so the follicular development is like I think through the roof. She ended up taking a dump, but she's still swollen up with scale separation. I hope that she ends up ovulating. She's like hugging, like she's pressed up against the PVC on the coolest side of the enclosure right now, and the male's still kind of all over her. So I'm hoping that she ovulates soon.
Yeah. Wow, July or August ovulation would be pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Bill Stiegel said it too. He's like he doesn't understand it. A lot of like East Coast guys, we get ovulations in the middle of summer. So I don't know if that's a good thing with the region.
I don't know. I pair up occasionally throughout the year, but I don't ever.
What was that?
Pat can get ovulations in the summer.
I know Pat and Sock breed year round. And they're keeping.
Yeah, I got for the sarong clutch. I got that ovulation. That ovulation happened in September.
That's early September.
Yeah, it happened in September.
That's summer.
Yep.
Well, you are running a mini split. Like you're severely temperature controlled in your garage, correct?
My Cyclops female later.
Yeah.
My Cyclops female later in July.
Late in July. So what was your ovulation in May? Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's necessarily a season unless people make it. I think people, whatever their region is and however the seasons align, when they do it in the fall is when when the temperatures are dropping and all that. But if you have good AC, like Keno, you got it in your living quarters. Trav, you got it in a mini split in your garage. I personally believe it's just however you make it comfortable for the snakes and what you do.
It's about the female too.
Yeah, and they're not. I mean, they're not the hardest.
Like some females, they won't. Yeah, some females they just go at different times, and you also got to look at it. I really think it's true that males don't want to mess with a female if she doesn't have follicles growing. And you can put a pair together at one part of the year and they do nothing. At another part of the year, they're all over each other. And I think that is true. So I mean, I think that there are breeding seasons, but it's just like everything else. There's exceptions. But I think that really we kind of have like a hard set of two different breeding seasons when breeding chondros. But if you can manipulate your environment, you can go anytime.
1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Yep.
Yeah. But as far as males go, like I got a male that like, he seems pretty, sedimentary until you put him in with a female, and then he's doing his thing. But I don't think we know as much as we'd like to see, and the fact that we don't record data in like a real scientific method. A lot of the things that we're talking about is purely anecdotal, and you don't know how much somebody is really telling you that's actually truthful of the process anyway. So we're just all kind of doing it, working the best we can off of
I like that though.
Yeah, I don't keep notes. I don't keep notes at all.
I say it all the time, and I don't know if I've heard anyone else say it, but I really do feel like green tree pythons are the most progressive species right now in the hobby being bred. I think there is an explosion of popularity. All of the evidence is anecdotal, and I think there is new shit being found out every single day because more and more people are keeping them and breeding them.
Well, you also got to realize this: with more people keeping and breeding them, they're keeping and breeding them in different conditions,
Correct.
and
So
different circumstances
just
as you
new
have more
discoveries
people
every
doing
day,
it.
man.
So it's going to be new discoveries, but those discoveries, they may not be applicable to the whole because they're just different. And like I can see some guys that are in Indonesia breeding them, their setups look completely different than the way that I see other people here breeding them. And of the four of us, like our setups are different from each other. Kind of similar, but there's some big differences, especially when you look at location and climate. The things in our climates we have to overcome. Like for me, it's dry and hot as hell here, so I have to like crank my AC up, but I also have to replace that moisture. So it's all different.
But no matter how
So I
progressive we
think that
get,
that's probably a big part.
I still think it's going to be a basic set of rules that green trees got to live by that I think people should master.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely
there's
think there's a baseline.
and, and we're all trying to
definitely a
And
baseline.
I think
we're all
those should
trying
be
to meet the
mastered
baseline.
before people start experimenting with stuff.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true.
That's what
I
the
think that
OGs
we
for. You
all
know what I'm
have.
saying?
I think we all have
That's
to.
something that I've learned. Go ahead, Chad. My bad.
Yeah, we have to overcome our environments to get to the baseline. Whether you're coming from above or underneath, you have to get to that baseline. But those differences create differences in your collection and process.
What's your feelings on it, Thaddeus? As far as like advancements and finding new stuff out and like altering your husbandry or your keeping techniques. Have you critiqued anything since you've started really keeping, on a serious level?
I don't know that there's been more than 1 year where I've kept things the same. At least not since I've been
See, that's
breeding.
another thing.
Because I'm trying to not change just for the sake of changing, but I'm always trying to improve my setup and my opinions on certain things changes as I go along too, and so I'm always tweaking and
Let me ask you, Thaddeus, how much did you tweak between your second clutch and the clutch after that one? Because you said the first 2 years you had everything like pretty much rolling.
I did, and I changed my room. I everything changed. Because I grew out of my original room, and so I had to reconfigure the whole thing. When you're working in a closet, it's a lot easier to keep temperature and humidity, and when you quadruple the size of the space and you're trying to run an ambient room temperature and an ambient humidity, it just changes the whole dynamic. And so that's when I started having to run, multiple electrical circuits so I can keep, 1,500-watt oil-filled heaters to keep the room warm. And, I had to upgrade all the humidifiers, and it's still not dialed in the way I want it to.
Sure.
But I've had 3 or 4 small clutches since I've been in the new room. But I'm still working on building things out because it's still not where I'm.
Fuck you! It didn't take my comment. I was trying to tell Oso that he's a baby back bitch. Fuck you, asshole! Look, I typed that shit. It didn't register for the record. Look, see, it didn't
I'm sorry,
take
Thaddeus,
it.
but that shit was bothering me. That shit was really bothering.
I peeped it too. That shit wild. I don't know which dude he on here fucking with.
Bro,
That's
no,
wild.
I was blown against
That's
the
wild
Usos.
as hell.
And
Like what?
I told him I was going to beat him up because he's a fucking bitch.
I don't judge nobody though. So do you? You know, if that's some
Thaddeus,
jersey
have you
short
ever
thing.
seen
Yeah.
Oso?
Seen what?
That's Paulie D.
O-
That's
Oso
Paulie D.
from Arboro Abomination. Have you ever seen him?
Thaddeus just came out of a cornfield like a week ago.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if I know who you're talking about.
He
You
always
don't know
tries
what
to
you're
pick,
talking about.
He picks on me. He tries to pick fights with me all the time. He's a big dude. He definitely looks like he bench presses Volkswagen Beetles, but I think I can take him.
Chuck was on here a couple weeks ago challenging. He was challenging 147-pound men.
No, I'm 100. I'm
Yeah.
160, and I told.
You said 158, right?
Yeah, I'm 160 now. I took a shit before I weighed myself.
113.
I was 158, but I'm 160 when I didn't poop today. So I'm
And that's without the
160
little
today.
shirt.
Yeah. That's butt ass naked. That's meat. That's when my meat and potatoes just hanging there in the wide open. Yeah,
That's a very unsavory image in my
Antoine
mind.
from High Desert Python fighters
Hey,
in
blood
charity
kisses for real.
Finley
That's wild.
for U.S. Art or some shit. And I said,
Why
I
don't you
will fight-
just? Why don't you stop looking for challengers for Antoine and you just challenge him?
wait, no. No, I need to fight someone my way. I'm not fighting somebody 200 pounds. I'll fight him, but I'll fucking
No. Fight Antoine. You over here talking about you gonna fight Oso? Fight Antoine.
No, Antoine's trained. Oso's got that Street Fighter in him. I could trip him up because his Timbs aren't tied. I'll just fucking knock him over. I'll step on his shoelaces.
Bro, that's
You know
not
he
how
don't tie his
fights work,
Timbs.
bro. You don't get to fight somebody in your weight class.
That's exactly how
I think
fights
everybody
work.
you're gonna fight with is gonna be
Get up for
equal.
charity, then
No,
I
they
will-
do
I-
not.
It's not the
How many fights you been in your
WBC
life?
or the IBO or the
You ain't been in no
IBF.
fights. He's not been in no fights.
Clip it again.
The only fights he's
I'll
been
fight
in is
somebody
when he
in
was
the-
behind
I
the
guess that would
badge.
be, I'm not even featherweight.
When the
What am
person
I?
was in
What
cuffs.
am I lightweight? I'm lightweight. I'm not featherweight, right? Because 160 is lightweight. I'm not welterweight, am I?
160.
You are lightweight.
160
Welter.
is super welterweight.
You're not lightweight, Chuck. You
That
light
says
work.
I'm gonna get my ass kicked because doesn't McGregor fight fucking 160 class? I'll fight
Yeah.
somebody. I want 4-ounce gloves. Though.
He's not even
I
gonna
want
fight you.
4-ounce gloves, grappling, and striking. I'm
Yeah.
not boxing. I want grappling.
He's not gonna fight you. He's just gonna slap you on your ass till you say uncle.
Who will? Oso? Or Antoine?
Yeah.
Antoine's a bad dude.
Either
and
or.
He's huge. I couldn't fight Antoine. He's trained and he's huge. At least Oso, we could just do a street fight. I'll beat him with a
But
chain.
you
or
always
something.
talk about how tough you are. I thought you was tough though.
I'm not saying I'm a bitch, but I sure as
Man,
hell ain't
anyway, let's get back to it.
I might lose, but I'll fucking fight somebody. I don't
He
care.
only
I'm
tough
not
with the
fucking-
badge on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna die.
He's
He only
out of
tough with
this
the badge
one.
on. He only tough with the badge on.
Hey, stop hitting me in the name of the law.
We gonna arrest his ass. Oso gonna swing one time and Chuck gonna arrest his ass.
I don't know what you're talking about. I
He's like,
am
that
a
punch was
realtor,
illegal.
sir. I sell
That
homes.
punch was illegal.
I don't know what
He
you're
gonna call the
talking
police
about.
on his ass. Fast.
You sell
Call him back
dreams.
up.
He sell dreams. That is, I'm sorry for
Thaddeus,
interrupting
so look,
you with
Thaddeus,
Chuck's
listen, what
emoji
happened?
nonsense.
So, talk to me about your the Red Sarong project, Thaddeus.
About the what?
Your Red Sarong. What's going on with that?
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, one more time.
Your Red Sarongs. What happened with the?
My rights and wrongs?
Yeah.
Which clutch you talking about?
The Red Sarong clutch. You said you had a pure clutch.
Oh, the sarong.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I wasn't picking that up. So I had the one. I've had one sarong clutch. It was a really small one. Actually, I don't have one surviving Neo. and I I didn't know that she was gravid. I never saw the ovulation. I never saw her swell up, and she never acted any differently. And then all of a sudden one day, I walk in there and she is sitting on a pile of eggs out in a spilled water bowl. And
Oh shit!
so I dried all the eggs out, but only one of them survived. And it's now that Neo's well, it's not Neo anymore. It's a year old, and that's a bred sarong baby, and it's starting to go through color change now. So I mean, it's a badass looking snake, but it's the
We'll
only
go
one
get
I had.
it. Well, show us. We'll go get it because you've been in the wilderness.
Shit, you really want to make off camera and run
It's
downstairs?
nighttime now. I don't know if you want to mess with it.
No, go ahead. Just get that one. Just get that one.
Thaddeus, when you take it out, right? So take your finger, and when you touch it right on the nose, and you go.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, Jeff from Canada did it. It was great.
He doesn't have.
Just go.
Yeah, but Chuck's not gonna do it. Chuck's not gonna do it. So don't let Chuck talk you into nonsense.
I'll do it with that one. I'll do it.
You're not. It's not going to show up very good because I don't have very good lighting. But how about I send some pictures?
Okay, that's cool.
That works.
When it's daylight and the snake's not going to bite the shit out of me.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I got a red sarong male, and I know it's not many of them. So hopefully, I can get some more red sarongs out of this male.
And you know what? And let me clarify, because I say sarong, but when I don't know its actual locality, I call it a sarong because the male and the female are quote unquote sarong type. That's what it was sold to me as. I don't know where it's from. It's from. I know that's the species it is. It's sarong, maniquari, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know what
region.
I know what region it's from. I don't know what locality it is.
I'll be honest with you. Most of the red sarongs that I've seen, they don't look like maniquaris that I see often. They look similar, but they look a little different. So I think that they are red sarongs. But that's just my opinion. Everybody else
maybe.
Because I got a red sarong male that doesn't look like a maniquar.
What's different about it?
Maniquaris seem to have, in their pattern, it seems to be more defined. And my red sarong, its dorsal looks more like a sarong's, where it's not as defined. It's just blue and just wavy and blue. And with this red sarong, it's like blue and like it seems to have like blue striations all over the dorsal and just coming down the body. It doesn't look like a maniquari to me.
Okay. But it was a red Neo?
Everyone's like I've seen. Yeah.
But it don't have a solid stripe down the dorsal with the triangles? It doesn't have a solid stripe with the triangles?
Yeah, I do. I think he was more or less defining it.
Yeah, it's not really triangles. It's just blue.
I think the wild caught maniquari look that you not describing, Travis, like the airbrush pattern look.
Yeah.
And then whether your sarong is like more or less is not, who? There's a couple people that got some nice wild caught maniquari specimens. Yeah. So I got one. Sam,
but a lot of
maniquaris. Theirs look airbrushed. It look airbrushed. It don't look as defined as a sarong.
But a lot of maniquaris, I see like their dorsals, like the triangles on the dorsals, are hollow. And this don't look like that either. So most of the maniquaries I've seen, like it kind of resembles it, but it also resembles to me the look of a sarong, but just more blue, and the green is deeper. It's a deeper shade of green.
Mhm.
So I don't think that they're the same. I think that they are different. I think as much as we only see mostly yellow sarongs because I have several sarongs. Um, I think that there is a possibility. I think it is a probability that some of the sarongs are red, as much as people say that they aren't.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
no,
know.
Dame the Two said his paper said there was red sarong, so
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I think it is, and it's not a very popular opinion but I think that people tend to overestimate the accuracy of the localities when they buy them.
true.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Being transported
But
in a Coca-Cola bottle and someone's getting
because
like $4 for collecting it for
you know the locality the labels are put on there based off of the port that they were exported from,
Correct.
which is fair because that's a very rugged terrain. There's not a lot of roads that connect those different regions. So it's probably likely that that's the correct region if it came out of that port. But how do we know, these, the problem is these imports are coming, a lot of them are changing hands 3, 4, 5 times before they ever get to us.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you really trust that chain of custody for that snake? Somebody didn't, you think all those people are keeping records where that snake came from?
No,
Some of these
not at
guys
all.
are just snake flippers that they don't give a shit. They'll throw whatever label on that's going to get it to sell. So I
Yeah.
think some of these guys know what they're doing and some of them don't. So we're getting a lot of mixed stuff. That's my personal
yeah, I
opinion
believe
on it.
that.
But we
So
can
would you
tell,
go
if
ahead?
you believe in the four species,
Especially now.
you can tell what species of chondro it is fairly consistently. But as far as localities within that species,
She's in shed, but this is a Maniquari girl. Yellow
So
neonate,
with that,
obviously.
so Thaddeus, would you like to play with imports? How was your quarantine like?
my quarantine was not as strict as it should have been. I thought I had it all figured out. That's a really pretty female.
Thank you. And she's in shed right now. Like I said, she's all blued over. I wish I could. I'm trying to find where her tail is so I could show you her tail. There we go. She's got that. Okay. I guess
Blacktail.
No. She's Maniquari. So the tail's all blue. She has almost no black on the tail. Little tiny speckle.
A little tiny bit on the tip.
Little tiny
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, man, Aquarius, they're gonna have some black.
Yeah,
So
I'm
would you
excited.
explain your quarantine?
So
I asked that
quarantine.
because we well, we preach quarantine on here, so
Yeah,
that's something that definitely
and
Trav
I
myself.
thought
That's
my
something we've been
quarantine was
doing.
really good. I kept all my quarantine animals separate. For over a year.
Okay.
And while they was in quarantine, they're getting the full treatment, all the anti-worm stuff, all the medications, and I don't know. I've just had such mixed luck with imports that I don't know that I really recommend them to too many people anymore. I used to say that, I wrote an article for one of those magazines that Justin Smith was putting out, talking about my quarantine procedures, and I think my quarantine procedures are solid. But if you're ever mixing a snake that was imported with a group of captive bred chondros, I think that even if your quarantine is really solid, you're still taking some risk. Not
True.
necessarily from parasites, but there's other stuff that they can be carrying that can be dormant that that you test for, and you don't, you can get false negatives. And so, I don't know, mixing imported snakes with captive bred in the same room, I don't know. I don't think I recommend it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've established this. I'm starting a second room now, and it's the only animals that are going to go in that room is stuff that's been captive bred by me. That's the point where I've gotten at this juncture. Is I'm going to create a separate room that only contains captive bred animals that I produced.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly, like, and this isn't taking a shot at you, this is just a little curiosity thing. What do you think is going to be the outcome of you creating a second room for just the captive bred ones?
I think I don't know. I'm just
You just want to do it?
eliminating.
Did you bring some import that has some viral that hit you? What made you think this? What made you switch it up? Thinking.
The imports that I brought in just aren't as healthy. They tend to get more. They tend to get sick more often, and my captive bred stuff never did. It's always been more resilient, and so I just don't trust the imports. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of it. It's kind of an experiment, but I'm hoping that I'm hoping I'm just going to have a really healthy room that I don't have to worry about. If I'm never introducing animals from other collections into it, and the rooms aren't ever being cross contaminated, then I don't ever have to worry about disease for that group of animals. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I want to delve into your collection, man, because you have had a badass collection over the years. And I see where it ended, and I can kind of see where it started. But where did you start to take off with this collection, importing some of the, well, I'm not going to say importing, but getting some animals you brought in to producing some of these highly melanistic animals? And did you have anything lineage wise that you were really expecting to pop out of these animals? And how do you see yourself going forward with some of these crazy ass animals you got? Because I can see a lot of animals that are poacher animals, but I can also see a lot of Biak, and I'm trying to figure out how you get all this crazy melanism out of these animals.
So all those melanistic animals I have came from one Biak and one captive bred animal that captive bred animal had a ton of melanism in his background, even though he was a green snake. And
Yeah.
that
I'm looking at the lineage right now. You got some ocean splashes in that lineage, so it got some. For people who
and what
can't
I'm
see it.
told is one of the craziest looking animals in that lineage is the one that I don't have a photo of. There's that one photo that's missing. Supposedly that's a really gnarly looking melanistic animal. But
JV, who is JV?
Jim Virgil. He's an old school Chondro keeper from way back. Had a really nice collection. I don't know a ton about him.
That animal, Nayri, the one in the lineage. Do you know what that was? Was that a Maroke? Maroke type?
The one it had the solid white line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Maruki, whatever it is.
Okay.
It was, yes. So I didn't know what to expect out of that first clutch that I had, and by the time I had a second clutch, I still didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
So but once they started to go through their color change, which took forever with these groups, didn't
The
start
BI
really
blood
changing
whitening.
color until they didn't start until they were well over a year old, and it took like 2.5, 3 years for them to get most of the way through it. But that's where that one pair is where most of my black stuff came from. And then I've got another animal that's got a lot of black on it, and that came from Patrick Holmes. That's one of
Hey,
his.
speaking of Patrick,
What up, Pat? That was the crook BI clutch, right?
So that I got one of those crook B Akabe babies, and that one's got a ton of black on it. So where I'm wanting to go with it is I'm hoping I can pair that one to, if it's a male. I don't know if it's a male or female yet, but I'm hoping to pair that one to one of my really high black ones and see what happens with it. And Patrick's got the same thing going on. He's got a female that I produced that he's going to pair with some crook stuff and see what comes out.
I remember y'all swapped those out.
If my money's on it, I think Patrick's going to get the clutch first. Like, he's got his stuff dialed in, so I think he gets the first babies from those two lines.
well, don't count yourself out. You are a Hoosier. So you're a resourceful man.
He like to throw chairs at people.
Have you ever thrown a chair at anybody?
I've wanted to.
Hey, Thaddeus, I was listening to him. As I had to let my dog out. Touch on that. Those videos that came from that Maroki, did they get that solid white line or something similar to that in the babies when you outcross it?
No, that was from generations ago. That was who was that? Was that Andrew Amon that produced those animals?
Yeah.
I believe those were Andrew Amon line.
Yeah, rest in peace, Andrew.
Yeah, that was many years ago when those animals were produced. The male that I had that produced all those babies, his sire was 20 years old. That came from that, and that was and that was 2 generations after that Maruki. Yeah, so we're talking like that Maruki was probably like 35 years ago.
Jesus.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, you got some animals in this lineage that go back all the way back to 1990.
Yeah, for real. That James Virgil stuff and that Andrew Amon stuff, that's all from the early 90s.
Then they mixed it with the OS High Yellow, yeah. That's pretty neat. I remember that TK is I think that's a very underrated I would say underrated. I would say under the radar breeder.
Yeah, they're up
you
in
talk to him and send some pictures up, get some pictures of him. He got a lot of nice animals over there.
His room is nice. He's over in Muncie, Indiana, and man, he's so under the radar. He's got animals that are just sick, and he doesn't ever put anything on Facebook. You'd never know what he has.
He make his own enclosures too, I believe, right?
I don't know. It's been a number of years since I've been up there, but I don't remember where he gets his stuff. Probably does. But over the years, he's produced some just wild looking animals, and still not too many people know who he is.
The real no, TK.
Let's say.
But looking at some of the stuff that you produce, that is truly amazing. And I remember when I first got to know you, I was just like, damn, how did you get to this point? But how much melanism did these snakes retain over the years? The ones that you've produced so far?
Is that picture current? The lady that you posted recently?
That was like I took that last week.
Wow.
That snake's over 4 years old.
Yeah, it's staying.
That melanism ain't going anywhere.
Is that the only
Um,
one from that clutch that held
Yes.
that looked like that?
no, I have another one that was almost all black, and it's still got a decent amount of black. It's not as much as this one. I need to get some pictures of it when it sheds, but it still looks good. It's just got a little more green, not quite as much black.
You plan on doing any sip to sip pairings?
I don't know. I don't know. So I think I could because I had some genetic testing done, and there's not those animals don't have much inbreeding from what's that guy's name that does the genetic stuff?
The red genetics.
Benson Morrill.
Yeah, that Benson Morrell.
Yeah. Well, he came back and after he did some genetic testing for me and said that there's not a lot of inbreeding in the bloodlines. Said they're pretty clean. So I could probably get away with it for a generation if I wanted to, but I think I'll only do it if I have some animals that are ready to breed and I don't really have pairs for them. So I don't know. I'm not too keen on the idea. If I did it, it would be one generation only.
Okay. Well,
Daddy.
of all. Go ahead, Chad.
What's up?
No, I was actually going to change the subject. So if you're going to keep on touching what he's saying, Trav, if you're going to stay on subject, it's probably better if you go.
Yeah. So of all these animals that you created, have you created enough animals where you think that you've seen something where you want to go for creating a line, or something that you specifically want to continually output?
Just the black stuff. I want to cross that with the crook bloodline and see what happens there. And try to get some more melanism. But outside of that, now,
you say you want to outcross it with the Crips?
He said the crook stuff.
The crook stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
The Crips.
What's
going on with you?
What's up, man? I thought Thaddeus was set tripping. That's what I'm saying.
No, I want a melanistic line. That's the only thing I'm really interested in. Outside of that, I just kind of want to try to get some locality things going.
Yeah. If you had to pick a locality, what would you pick?
Oh, it's Sorong Maniquari for sure. All-time favorite. Biok's pretty awesome though. Biok is probably second.
So what's the plan for the Sorongs? When you gonna start working on those again?
I don't know. I lost that female. I've got another one. I've actually got two more strong females, and a couple really nice strong males. I just haven't been able to get them to take yet. So, but they're all only the ones, the Sarong Maniquari, whatever it is. Only one of them's a red Neo, and that's kind of my jam. So it might take a few generations to get, some a red female, but we'll see.
All right. So are you gonna do the repeat for the? Are you gonna do the hold on? Are you gonna do the repeat of the first clutch you did? Have you tried to do a repeat for that?
No, we're done. I actually lost that male.
Oh damn! Okay.
I mean, I suppose I could do a sibbed, a dam to one of her kids, but I don't think I want to do that.
No, I was
No,
just asking because I know John Leckie. John Leckie, he got a few pairs that he's done like 4 times, and he get like consistent results from them, so you can kind of see. I guess he can kind of forecast his Leos a little bit when you've done the same damn pair 4 times. You know.
yeah. Well, you kind of just know that when they're, when you get a pair that's that good together, you kind of just know when you put them together, you're probably going to get a clutch.
Yeah.
They're just so consistent. At least that's how those two were. I have an interesting pairing if I can get it to take that same dam. I'm trying to put a VV 1631. I've got a Dave Denninger male that I'm going to try and pair with her. And the bloodline on that animal is just nuts. And see what she can throw with get some blue line mixed with Biok and see what happens. I'd really like to. I'd like to see a clutch come out of that. We'll see what happens.
How old was your male when he passed? The
He
super
wasn't
breed?
very old. He was a 20. He's probably 8 years old.
It's pretty young.
Yeah,
That's right.
he's
That's
not very
and
old.
that was the captive bred male, right?
Yep.
You ever found out what it was?
No, I didn't do a necropsy. He was fine one day and he was laying on the floor the next.
You didn't see any signs of like
He wasn't.
corkscrewing or anything at all?
No, he ate a meal and then the next day he was dead. So I don't know. Yeah, it's happened a few times. It's happened a couple times. Unfortunately.
Yeah. You ever heard that too, where they could have swallowed a rat backwards and the damn claws scratched the lining of the stomach.
I don't know. It's pretty rough.
Chuck, you had a question that you wanted to ask earlier, right?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay.
We covered it.
So as far as some of this other stuff, like you had like a tricolor yellowish animal. From that clutch, was there red animals and yellow animals?
No, not from that pairing. I never had a yellow animal.
Okay. It was a really high yellow animal. I forgot where I saw it.
There was quite a few of them that had a lot of yellow. Not that I kept, but I seeing pictures of the 3 or 4 year old animals. There's some that retained a lot of yellow. I just I only had the 1 or 2 of them in my that I had kept back.
Okay. But all in all, I would say that you got a pretty beautiful collection. And I'm just going back through it because I Facebook stalked you for years. Because I was just like, man, I want to ask him these questions, but I know he's busy.
So kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's creepy.
You were sending pokes?
No, I didn't send no pokes, man. I didn't send no kissy emojis like Chuck. But I was creeping.
It's creeping.
Creeping on him. No, so the animal was TLS 1904 that is owned by somebody named Tom S. And that's the animal that I was talking about. Because it is a really beautiful animal.
Skivvy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. That's the last picture I've seen of it too. I haven't heard from that guy since he sent me that. I'm kind of curious to see if it still has all that yellow.
Yeah, it was a beautiful animal.
Hey, Thaddeus, how many clutches have you hatched out?
I think 6. 6 clutches since 2019. So.
And what was your favorite pairing out of
that's
those
the
6
year
clutches?
that I
What was your
first.
favorite one?
The very first clutch I had, it was the best one. Had the craziest animals.
Yeah.
And how many of those? And that was 18, correct?
Yeah, that was 18.
And how many of those 18 do you still have, or did you hold on to?
Not nearly enough. I have, what do I have? 3, 4. I have like 4 of those.
And would you say that they've become like the founding animals of like what you want, like your concrete foundation for what you're like aiming to produce or be known for?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, one of them is that black animal that I have that I'm hoping that's the start of a really awesome line. So
And that is a male,
no, she's female.
Yeah.
female.
All right, so
Actually,
talk to us about these Tanzanias.
oh, I've got 4 Tanzanias,
Okay.
and only one of them is a brooder rate. Is brooder size. She's actually in Las Vegas right now, um, on the
Vegas
breeding
Billy?
loan. Yeah,
Billy Hughes?
Bill Hughes. Yeah, he's got her paired up. Well, she's actually she should be gravid right now, but he's not sure. She's dark, she's swollen, she's real big, so we're hoping she's gravid. So fingers crossed.
And what
But
are
then
they?
I
The
have
Easterns or Westerns? The greens or the Mandarins?
they're the Mandarins, the Westerns. I don't have Eastern money, but I don't know.
So how is
Those Eastern.
how is taking care of them different from green trees or similar?
Um, I don't know if you can kill a Tanzania. I don't think you can. They're they're bulletproof. Um, I've never had a bad shed from a Tanzania ever. Uh, they
Wow.
do better on lower humidity. Um, they never refuse meals. They're super calm. Their temperament's awesome. Um, they're just, I mean, they're pretty in their own way. It's not a green and black snake or a green and blue snake. So they're not as pretty as green trees, but man, you
No,
can't.
they remind me of pygmy rattlesnakes or horned
that-
rattlesnakes.
They're
Yeah.
they're just they're really cool. I love them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to diversify my collection a little more and have a few more Tanzanias going. And they're so rare. There aren't many people that have them.
Yeah. I was able to hold one. Micah Fairy Tales, he probably in the comments, but I was able to hold one. Man, they cool as hell. He keep his
Oh,
100% arboreal, set up just like a green tree, but it got like little tunnels and shit. But it's
well, they don't perch like a green tree, but they are
yeah,
semi-arboreal. They
yeah,
need
they
more like
lame. It's like yep,
yeah, they need like
yeah,
platforms to lay on.
yep, yep.
Is
Like
it true they're
definitely like
more
it's like
arboreal
a
as a
multiple point
neonate,
perch.
and then they turn more terrestrial as an adult?
Yes, and probably a lot of that's body size.
Right.
Yeah, because they are a
Because
larger animal, much larger than a green tree at least.
oh yeah, like my female that's in Vegas right now, she's probably 2,000 grams or more.
Damn.
Wow.
She's big. She's a big girl.
That's on the wild world.
So then I got another female that she'll be ready
It
to
does kind
breed
of sound
probably
like
next year. The problem is I don't have a male that's ready for a couple more years. So
Hey Travis, where's the light, man? Where's the neon sex light?
I didn't put the neon sex light on today, man. As you can see, bro, like this whole entire week, like I've been struggling to survive. That's why, that's why the videos came out at the time that
He's
they came out,
struggling.
man. Uh, bro, I've been struggling to survive this week with work, um, and the changeover and all this other stuff, man. I found myself getting off work and doing more work. I don't know, man.
Well, come on,
You
man. We
doing-
got to bring
You
this.
doing
We got to
summer
bring the
classes,
sex light.
Trav, or you taking the summer
We need the
off?
sex light energy, bro.
Huh?
I said, are you doing summer classes, Trav, or you taking the
No,
summer
I'm still in
off?
class. I do year-round classes, man.
We need the sex light energy, bro.
My
I think
son must have been over
the
here.
first show you
unplugging
did
it.
without the sex light on. Oh shit. There you go. Come on. Plug it up. Sex light trap.
Sex light, man. There you go. There's a sex light.
There we go.
It's more
There
of
we
a
go.
crispy. It's more of a Krispy Kreme light when they got the fresh
I mean, look,
donuts out
that
the
sometimes
fry.
sometimes that's usually what happens after the sex light come on. The Krispy Kreme comes later.
That's your choice of snack after sex. It's a
Whatever you
Krispy
want to
Kreme
call it.
donut.
Whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Cut that off.
Hey, you trying to
it
get
off.
us? You trying to get our page shut
Cut
down?
it off.
Hey, we can't play this. Turn it off. Turn it off, man. We're gonna get banned. Watch.
He got
We're
cut
gonna
that off.
get a copyright
Well,
strike on this one.
We're not monetized, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
All right, they're gonna ban us.
We're not making any money here, so it doesn't really matter.
Black
We're gonna be
dude,
like, we're
black
taking
dude
your
listen to Marvin Gaye
non-money
live.
away.
You're banned.
They not doing nothing. So I got a question, Sauls. How has it been, being in the Midwest and in Indiana, in Indiana? Like, how has it been networking with, chondro breeders across the U.S.? Do you think you did most of that stuff through the internet?
Honestly, outside of Ty Keys and Forrest, God rest his soul, I haven't met another chondro breeder.
Rest in peace for us.
Rest in peace, Forrest. But those were the only two chondro breeders I ever met.
That's enough.
I
Thaddeus putting it down for Indiana. That's what I'm talking about.
I remember the first time I touched a chondro was in the spring/summerish of 2008 at the reptile show in Indianapolis.
I thought you were going to tell me it was at
That was No, I didn't go to band camp, Chuck. I played sports.
First time you touched one? By the
We
lake?
didn't do that. That's what lonely boys who didn't get girls did. They were in the band. Chuck.
What you mean, man? Chuck was a lady man in high school. Big ladies man.
Nah, not me,
Yeah.
man. No, sir.
I know
Chuck was a peeping Tom in high school. Chuck was a peeping Tom. All the Porky's adventures you've seen in that movie are all the adventures that Chuck went on in high school. But yeah, I think that Indianapolis reptile show, as I can remember it, it was a pretty decent reptile show. I went a few times to it, and I think it was in like a gym or something.
So it's at the fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever been to that one?
Yeah, it's at the state fairgrounds, and it's like I don't know. It's in one of their buildings there. It kind of feels like a gym, but it's I've been there a few times in the last few years, and I really don't go anymore because all they have is ball pythons and leopard geckos and stuff now. That's
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen an imported chondro there in years. So I go there. I go there when I need to restock on rodents. That's when I go.
Yeah.
Trey, you talking to him?
Is he talking?
I thought he was.
I can hear
You freeze that?
Try to freeze him up. Thaddeus, tell me what is the best part about Indiana besides leaving?
Is there a good part of Indiana?
I don't know. Hey, you know what? The police arrested me not arrested me. They stopped me when I was there. They told me I was driving in the right lane too long.
What?
Yes. They told me I was driving in the right lane for too many miles.
In the right lane?
Yes. He stopped us. He said, if you need to go a little bit faster, you should be in the left lane. The right lane is only for people who are about to get off the expressway.
What?
Yeah. Yes. He told me that. After that, I was like, all right, no more Indiana.
I think we all know what was happening there. I think we know exactly what was happening there.
No, we don't, man. I'm not trying to go there, Chuck.
I didn't say anything specifically. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to go there, Chuck.
I'm
not accusing the officer of that.
I think that we know. Listen, I don't know what the officer looked like.
He told me that was the Indiana rule, and I just wanted to talk to an Indiana to see if that was the truth.
Man, I'm not going to claim to know what's going through that guy's head, but that don't sound right to me.
Right. He told me he was driving in the right lane too. I was like, what?
Yeah, usually it's
that's a new one there.
Without passing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my first time in Indiana, though.
In the state that I live in, called failure to keep right, is the actual statute.
And for everybody else, that's don't camp out in the left lane.
Yeah, Pennsylvania drivers, they camp out in the left lane.
Right.
See, that would be me.
Horrible. Sorry if you're from Pennsylvania, but you're a shitty driver.
I'll be flying in the left lane.
No, I don't. Maybe that was just a bad cop. Don't know.
All right, I was just asking.
No, there ain't a lot.
Our car broke down and we had to drive to Effingham. I pulled up in Effingham. It was just all pickup trucks everywhere.
Why do you have such an issue with pickup trucks, bro? What is your obsession with fucking pickup trucks? What? What? You got something against Home Depot? What the fuck is wrong with a pickup truck?
I don't have nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with pickup trucks. That's not a life rule. There's nothing wrong with someone having a pickup truck. But the life rule is
the driver of the pickup truck?
Yeah. Yeah, the life rule is never trust a black man driving a pickup truck.
Man, get your ass out of here with that shit. This whole thing drops off, and I come back to this shit with you again. Hey, man, never trust a black man that drives a Prius.
I don't drive a Prius, so I agree with that.
You drive a Prius. You drive a fucking Prius. I do not drive a Prius.
When y'all see that Tilly, I will not be pulling up in a Prius. Me or the lady.
Same size as a gorilla's nutsack.
Neither one of us have a Prius. He hate on the Mozzie.
It's a Prius.
It's a Mozzie.
This is a Prius.
That is the first time I've ever heard that.
That's a life rule, that is. You just can't trust it.
Okay. All right.
I never heard of it either. Like where I'm from, out here, everyone drives a pickup truck. It don't matter you're black, white, Hispanic. Everyone has a pickup truck because everyone has like land or farms or.
You know why, Keno? Because we have shit to do, and we have to go to Home Depot and pick up shit and bring it home.
I just told him he hates Home Depot.
Keno said if he had a yard, he wouldn't even cut his own grass.
No. I got my homies that descend from the South America that do that for me.
That's racist. Yeah, you talking
That's
about
not racist.
Song.
That's not racist. I'm talking about paying somebody that actually got a business to do that.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
That's not racist.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of demographics that own lawn care businesses.
Shut up. Shut your ass up.
Exactly.
Don't be co-signing his nonsense.
No, I'm just it's a diverse industry. There's many
Correct.
different people that own lawnmowers and
I'm a
Yeah,
type of
but-
person. I
but
feel
Chuck,
like
pickup trucks.
I feel like
What did
putting
he
money
say?
back into the
What
economy.
did this man say?
I'm gonna
What
put
did
money
this
into the
man?
economy.
What did this man say about the descendants of the people who cut his grass?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, whatever.
I got a lot of background noise.
First off, I'm gonna pay people. I'm putting money into the American economy. I'm putting money in people's pockets. That's why people get jobs to make money.
You call yourself a job creator? You call yourself Joe Biden now?
I did not say that
Joe
at all.
Biden law care.
I did not say that. I am just a person who is gonna pay somebody to come online. That's it.
You sir are
Around
an
Christmas,
ass.
cut my bushes
even
into
know.
L's. Cut my
Wait,
bushes into a
so
Christmas tree outside.
could you imagine, like, does anyone pay someone to cut their lawn in this chat right now? Anybody or no? How much do you pay?
$30.
And how big is your front and backyard?
Pretty big, but he's only 13, so he doesn't know.
Okay. Great.
Hold on.
So we've
So,
covered.
Taking advantage of this boy.
So we got child labor.
Oh,
Yo, let Thaddeus go.
we have covered illegal child labor, racism. What else you guys want to cover?
What I said was not racist. What I said was not racist. I'm giving people legitimate jobs.
Oh my goodness.
We're supposed to be talking about
No.
snakes.
I'm not talking about that. No, we're talking about that pickup truck
No.
situation, Keno. That, sir.
What?
You act like I got this kid from like the Sheen factory, man. He's just across the
You
street.
do. He's working for Fashion Nova. He's a slave working at Fashion Nova.
He's not a
He's
slave
making-
professional.
He's sewing shirts when he's not mowing your grass.
Exactly.
I don't know how much it would cost if I actually paid somebody to mow my lawn. Dude, I have over an acre. Like, my backyard is larger. It is a little bit larger than a football field. I don't even want to think how much it would cost me if I paid someone to cut my lawn.
Yeah, I guess
It's
that from my door
ridiculous.
to my fence, like it's like 30 yards.
Dude, no. My tiki bar to my shooting range is my backyard. It's 110 yards.
Yeah, it's not
And
that
it's
Wow.
like
See, when
50
Travis
yards
kids grow up and they move to Chicago, I'm gonna offer him a job.
My kids are never gonna live
Cyrus.
in Chicago because I want better for them.
What if they might work in Chicago?
As adults with full-fledged careers, not as teenagers, get inducted into the Black Stones.
You might have a young landscaper on your hands.
Whatever.
You go out there. Silas got a pair of shears working on the bushes.
I don't think Sauls is gonna be the type of kid I'm gonna be able to hold still to get to work for somebody to cut
I
their
don't know, man.
grass.
He might be mean with them edge trimmers.
Silas might be mean with them edge trimmers and try to hit somebody with it. My daughter might be calm enough to do it, but not my son. So we only got like 20 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Hey, Thaddeus, you want to go over anything else that you didn't talk about previously?
I don't know. What do you guys?
plug yourself, give some shout outs. Maybe some people that have helped you in the hobby that you really want to make sure are known on here.
Oh, everybody knows who my mentor was, Patrick.
My mentor too.
Man, I bugged the hell out of that guy. That
My
first
mentor
class I
3.
had. I probably talked to him every day for 6 months.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, me too. Pat's the GOAT, regardless of what anybody else says. I'll fight you in the face.
He is. He's the
If
man.
you say Pat's not the GOAT.
He's helped me more than anybody. It's crazy. But yeah, I wouldn't be where I was if it weren't for him. I actually sent him that first snake that he has. He has one for my first clutch. I sent him that snake for free for helping me out.
Yep, that's how you gotta do it.
That's a good dude. Helped me out with my clutch when I woke up and there was
Yep.
eggs. She was sitting on them. I had no idea what to do. He called me immediately. That's the first time I talked to him.
How often do you wake up, Chuck, and not know what is going on? How often is that?
I got so much shit going on, dude. Oh my god.
He wakes up in a state of confusion.
Dude, I got so much shit going on. This week's freaking so busy in itself.
Hey man, that's life for you. Welcome to the
Pat
party.
taught me taught me how to dive my first mosh pit. I never forget that.
I hope that's a joke. I hope he didn't send you like a video tutorial on how to jump in a mosh pit.
You did. I made it out though.
If anybody knows how to jump in a mosh pit, Pat does.
Yeah, it's probably Pat.
You just jump in and start swinging. That's all.
That sounds like a bar fight.
It's the same thing, bro.
Have you ever been in a mosh pit, Travis?
No, I've never. No, so that's untrue. So I'll tell you a story. So back in the summer of 2007, this is when I was going to Indiana State. My parents were living in Memphis, so we went down in May for the Memphis in May Music Festival. Well, for some reason, the big stage was set up for 3-6 Mafia, but the act going on before them was a band called Social Destruction. They call them Social D. And they were handing out roses to the crowd, and then they started doing all their crazy shit. Well, they started a mosh pit, and then
and he gone.
500 people waiting to see them, and then there's like thousands of people behind them waiting to see 3-6 Mafia. So they started a mosh pit. So it's all these girls and people trying to be cool and shit, and then right in front of you is people doing drop kicks on each other and all types of shit. But one dude does like a roundhouse kick in the mosh pit and kicks the shit out of this girl. He kicked her. She had her glasses on. The glasses broke, and she was fucked up. He said that powder. She was on that powder. So, my boy T-Birds, Timothy Roberts, he says something to the guy, and the guy gets mad. He's just like, "I'm just trying to mosh." So T-Birds punches this fucking dude. So then some dude started punching him. So then we got to fight these dudes. And before I left, my mom was like, "Before you go out there, don't be fighting and shit." And my dad just looked at me. He's like, "Travis, don't be fighting and shit." And that was like the first thing we did was get into a fucking fight at the concert. So that's my one and only mosh pit story. But I was not a participant in the mosh pit. I guess not officially.
Yes,
but
not officially. You was down there swinging on people, drop kicking people off that.
I didn't drop kick nobody. In fact, I was chilling. I had just seen Chuck Berry, so we had went over to that stage to go see 3-6 Mafia.
I'd be highly impressed if you could drop kick somebody. I would be very impressed.
I went to the Megan Thee Stallion concert.
You gonna drop kick somebody at the Megan Thee Stallion concert?
No, I didn't drop kick nobody, but I went there. It was a lot of movement going on in the crowd.
You sound like an old pervert. There's a lot of movement back there.
Tell you this.
Girl, what you doing? It wasn't moving a lot back there.
It wasn't my plan to go, so she didn't get mad at me.
Did you say there's a lot of movement back there while you was eating like a fried pork chop in your hand? There's a lot of movement back there.
It was a lot of movement going on. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about that offline.
Okay. Is this your scouting session for Sugar Daddy season?
I don't know what that is. See, me, I'm a family man. I don't know what y'all talking about, man.
Hey, man, all Sugar Daddies was family men at one point in time.
Yeah, all saints was the sinners at first.
Okay, my man. All right. Thaddeus, you got anything else you want to kick off?
Good, man.
What about your plans for this year? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to try too hard this year. Just trying to grow up my females, get them a little bit better. Get them what? I want to put a couple 100 grams on most of them, so I may not even try them this year. I'm really just focusing on next season, trying to get that black clutch going.
Before we get out of here, how has you been in the in the service? How has that affected how you organize your breeding seasons?
Well, it's a little different because I'm active duty, but I'm National Guard, so I don't ever have
Active
to leave the
guard.
state of I don't have. Yep, we exist, so I don't ever have to leave the state of Indiana.
Okay,
Um,
but that's not
so
that's terrible. That's
I
yeah,
work with
leave.
two active guard members right now. Um, it's a weird system, like how they get a job through the guard, like they put them somewhere, they put them with us, and like if they get promoted, they lose their job, and then they got to go somewhere else. Like it's a really weird system how it works here in Texas. And then they were getting sent down to the border, and they were all scrambling to, so they didn't have to go
What the
live in a
hell?
tent and do Governor Abbott's bidding at the border.
yeah, that's
So
weird stuff. I don't have to deal with any of that.
yeah, they said it was a clusterfuck. They said some people were living in tents and some people were living in hotels, and they said it was all terrible because they just sent them down there to sit. But
The
Yeah,
Air
they
no
said,
Force
thanks.
live in hotels, right?
what'd you say?
The Air Force gets to stay in a hotel, right?
There's no active guard. There's no air guard they're going to send down to the border. You got to understand, man, that most of the people in the Air Force don't qualify on weapons. So why would you send them anywhere where they might get shot at? Fuck, it makes no sense, man. I work with Air Force people now that have never shot a weapon in the Air Force. They've been in the Air Force for years.
Shocking.
It's not shocking. It's not shocking until you're around it.
I'm not
And then you
trying to
look at
make
them.
sense out of it because I'm
So you talking
trying
about
to.
an actual weapon, or is the plane considered a weapon? If the fighter jets.
No, most people in the Air Force don't
That's only
fly
all.
jets, bro.
True.
The
Most of the people
Navy
in the Air
has
Yeah.
Force
more
don't
jets.
fly.
Yeah, the Navy has more jets than the Air Force.
So you don't gotta be trained with a weapon to be up in there.
Man, if you meet most people in the Air Force, you'd be like, I wouldn't give them motherfuckers a gun anyway. They are not. They are not the most rugged of the bunch, bro.
Truth.
You want to keep
So
them
y'all
in air.
just gonna get on here. Y'all just gonna get on here attacking other branches, huh?
Yes, we are.
Y'all just gonna gang up on other branches.
Hey,
And
man.
if the shoe fits.
Listen, I ain't in the service, but I can tell you this right now. I'm trying to hand in all my equipment. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you too. You should join the Air Force.
I'm so detached. I'm so detached from my regular 9
I think
to
that's
5.
all I need to know about the Air Force.
Listen, I'll tell you something about the Air Force. When they send the Air Force to Army installations, they pay them extra money for substandard living.
Dude, Air Force got it hooked up. They got the gig. You want to
They-
get paid? Air Force got the gig, and it's comfy.
It seems that way until you realize everybody in your little unit is going to snitch on you for anything. It's not the place to be, in my opinion. The Army might suck at times, but people are more united in the Army.
Oh shit! You was missing was the be all you can be.
Be all that you can be in the Army. Get a ugly
Why'd you get
wife
out?
and
You
a
should have been a
fucking life
recruiter,
in
man.
the Army. Hell no! I wouldn't tell nobody to join the Army.
Going to high school. Hey guys, you should come to the Army. Sign up.
You know how many times I had to stay at work till like 9 p.m. just because somebody didn't have a piece of paper.
Hmm.
You love your. You was dedicated to your
looks like
country.
that because he's just like, I made people stay at work till 9 p.m. to find that piece of paper.
Nah, I ain't like that.
But anyway, so we got like 5 minutes left. Like, you get anything off that anybody wants to get off. I have nothing. I had a good time, Thaddeus. I'm really happy we got to have you on, and I'm still really appreciative of all the help that you've given me over the years. Even though I couldn't find you for like the last 2 years,
Well, I'm probably gonna drop off the radar for another year. I might post some stuff here and there, but
Okay.
Shit.
I,
But look,
I'm telling you
Thaddeus,
guys, I'm done. Social media and me is done.
nah, Thaddeus, Instagram is safe though. Instagram is a safe place.
Yeah, it's not like Facebook, man.
It's not.
That's why we do
Yeah.
this show. We used to do it on Instagram Live, but we do it
Yeah.
because
We
we stay
started on
away
IG.
from Facebook, man. It's so many weird things that you'll see on Facebook that make no sense. And the arguments that
I
people
agree.
come up with. I think that some
Yeah.
people in those groups, I think that because they may not have done as much as they see others have done, that they got to talk in those groups so that you would actually know they exist. I think it's that's just a thing because a lot of people that like will have negative things to say about this person or this animal or that. You haven't seen them. You don't know anybody else that really knows them. They haven't done anything. They're just some guy that bought a $6,000 snake from another guy, and they think that they're an expert. Your $6,000 doesn't make you an expert, bro. It's all about experience.
That's true.
And I don't know what it's like to buy a $6,000 snake.
I know some people. You want one? I'll find. I'll get you one. Get you one
I
by
don't.
tomorrow.
I'm good. So let me ask you guys this: you guys are still on social media. Is the demand what it was a couple years ago when I checked out?
Yes, yes. I think that the animals move a little slower, but I think
Yeah.
that there's more people trying to get the animals, and I think that price point is a big deal right now with the animals
Yeah.
because you got a lot of
Where's that
interest
at?
people coming.
Where's that at? Because this price point was sky high 2 years ago. Last time I sold an animal.
It's still high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is it?
they're still kind of.
But I
It's
think
just a bad
but
time
also
of year and
you don't
time to go.
you're not in pandemic and you don't got a lot of people in the house. So I don't think animals are flying as fast as they were back then.
But they
True.
fly.
Well, they
They
definitely
do.
fly, but they not. It's not like when Thaddeus jumped off the earth, it was crazy.
Oh yeah, I put an animal up for sale and it was sold the next day.
Yeah,
But that
now
was
it's
2
gonna
years.
take you.
Well, Thaddeus, them animals that you had some outstanding prices on animals.
Yeah,
Let's keep
some
it a
crazy
buck.
prices.
You had some crazy ass prices, so I think your shit was. I think you had a different situation.
I had crazy prices, like my stuff was too low.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
it was like
That's
crazy Thaddeus's Chondro Emporium.
Well, man, I don't even know what I didn't know any better because you don't know what you don't know. But that first clutch, all them snakes I sold for $900.
Yeah, I know. I sold an animal to somebody for $1,000 that I regret.
But then again, though, you got to look at it like, you got a quality animal in somebody's hands, and it wasn't all about the money,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I'd rather sell an animal for a cheaper price than somebody that I know and like. Much
Yeah.
cheaper price than somebody I have no clue of and doesn't have anything Chondro related going on with them. Because I know I'm gonna
And
see that animal again.
well, that's the trouble with selling your animals cheap is because now you got all these entry level people that you don't know if they have any idea how to take care of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's part of the game though, because you can't choose who you're going to sell your animals to most of the time. So
Yeah. If I was able to vet my buyers, and then I think I have 5 animals now that are in other people's hands, and it's nice. Like I could reach out to them, or they reach out to me and say, "Dude, like this is great. Like I love this animal." And all 5 of them are eating great. And, the one guy has animals from. I'm not going to name people, but he's got very expensive animals from a lot of different breeders. Reached out to me before in the middle of the night and said, like, dude, like, can you help me with these other people's animals? Like, I wish, like, the one that I bought from them fed as well as the one that I bought from you. So it's like a good feeling to like kind of like really put a lot of time into the animal, and make sure you sell a quality animal to somebody regardless of what they pay.
right,
True.
sure.
But I think that the price point, where animals are really selling is like between $900 and $1,500.
Yeah.
And also,
That's
there's
pretty
also
accurate.
not there's also not a lot of localities either that are captive bred. So I think that's a mark. That's a little lane that I think the people can try to get into.
Yeah, that hasn't really changed. There's not too many people doing it.
Yeah.
Because the import's a lot of work if you want to be 100%.
Imports are a lot of work.
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot
A
of
lot
loss.
of work.
and that's
Some
usually
imports some imports are pretty easy, but there's still that parasite thing to be concerned about.
I feel like they could be doing great for so long, and then you change one thing, and they just get so sick, or they're just so affected by like a small, minute change or like an issue.
They definitely get
No.
stressed easier.
Yeah,
I think, in my
they take
experience,
it
they
harder
get
than a
stressed
captive
easier.
animal. Would
well,
you
in my
agree,
experience.
Thaddeus? If you would have the exact same issue with either a captive bred or an import, it's just the imports, no matter how good they're doing for so long, they will just take it so much harder. Like the exact same thing you could expose a captive bred to that would just take it no problem.
Now that's been my experience. Now I do have imported animals that are just solid that I
Yeah,
never
I do
have any
too.
trouble with.
Yeah.
But the amount of captive bred animals that I have that are solid compared to the amount of imported animals I have are solid, there's no comparison. Um, the imported animals generally have more problems, even if they don't have parasites. They generally just stress easier, which causes more problems in itself.
You know what I think? I think you got to have an import protocol.
Yeah.
Um, like when I get imports, day one or day two, they're getting nido swabbed. Within a
Yeah.
week, they're going to the vet, and then I'm gonna get this fecal situation under control. Also,
Yeah.
I'm also gonna soak them and try to get rid of any mites that that might be riding on them. So, like, I think that when you get imports, you got to be really proactive. And I would say that in the last 4 years, I've lost two imports. Uh, one to Nido, and then one to an impacted tooth. But for the most part, I would say that the imports that I've had are pretty hardy. Now, I will say this thing about imports that I've noticed is like the smallest thing might get them to go off food. I would say that. Um, but for the most part, I think that they're fine. I just think you got to have experience with imports to do well with imports. But I also think that they're hardier when it comes to breeding, and you'll probably likely get bigger clutches from imports as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think having a strict quarantine is essential with the
Yep,
imports.
at least 90 days. If you
You
don't
you
quarantine
can't
an
escape
import,
past that. Yeah.
if you don't quarantine an import, you are asking for trouble. And you got to keep imports pretty basic when they come in as well.
Yeah.
And I stress test mine in those first 30 days, 60 days. I stress test them, change the temperature on them, things like that. Or I'll move
Play
the
with that
tub to a
cloaca.
different place of the room, and I just see how they react because if they got niter or something, I want to bring that shit out early so I can deal with it and get that animal out of my house. I don't want it to be lingering, and I don't know. But even when you mess with imports, like you got to mess with them when you're not messing with anything else at all. Um, because it might not be nidal, it could be mites too. So
Yeah.
that's just how I see it. I think everybody's a little different. Um, a room full of imports, I don't think that that's a good thing either. Like in quarantine, like one at a time, maybe two, in a quarantine room.
You gotta be
And then
picky too. You can't just go out and buy
yeah,
anything, man.
Yeah, you can't get the raggedy imports because a lot of imports I see look like garbage. And all imports, once you get them and you see them, if they've been in the wild and they're fresh caught, man, they've got some scarring on them for the most part. So you got to look at that too. But we've gone over time. So you got anything else you want to shoot off? That is.
No, good man. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, I appreciate you coming, and you can't leave Instagram. You got to stay around for a while.
Yeah, I won't ever delete it. I'll stay on there.
Okay, we appreciate it.
You tell Ezekiel and them don't kidnap you again, or none of the aliens, the Indiana aliens,
Josiah,
Hezekiah, all of them. Tell them relax. Put the pitchforks down.
Right on, guys.
All right, Chuck, you got anything?
I'm good, man. I got work in the morning.
All right, man. Take your weak ass to sleep and stop threatening people to fight it. Like, stop bouncing up the wall.
I'm the baddest motherfucker at 158, buddy.
Bring it on. Let's go.
I feel like your wife has put you in a cobra clutch at least one time this week.
She like 170. She probably like 160. She probably like 160, solid, beating his ass.
She probably got you in a cobra clutch.
Hey, man, only way you can find out is to try it out.
She's probably just like, I'll beat your ass.
Man.
She make you call her daddy in the house and she fart on the back of your head.
She's taller than him.
She is taller. All right, y'all. Good night. This has been another episode of the Chondro Bar Room.
All right. Till next week, y'all. Peace.